Good afternoon, Alderman De Vries. This is Rihanna Matthews. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Alderman De Vries, can you hear me? Good afternoon, Alderman De Vries. This is Rihanna Matthews. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's 3 o'clock. I think we must start. Good afternoon, Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, councillors, and officials. Welcome to the special council meeting that were called for today at 3 at very short notice. The topic that is on the agenda are very urgent, and that's why we are having this special council meeting. I also just want to mention, but I think I will do that in my communications later on. So I won't divulge now. All councillors that are online, welcome to you as well, and also to the members of the public. Councillors, if you need to say anything, I know it's load shedding at the majority of our towns. So if there is a possibility that you are going to lose signal or anything, please just send a WhatsApp to on the councillors group. Rihanna will check it on my behalf if I maybe don't respond. Mr. Evacuation, we are at point number 2. Thank you. It's your new name going forward, Louisa.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Good afternoon, Speaker and the Executive Mayor, all colleagues in the House. Once again, we are in the Council chamber. Principles of the evacuations. Evacuations is a legislated matter that all employers or the host must ensure that everyone evacuate in the case of emergency. I'm sitting with the people that are familiar with my statement now. In the case of emergency, you proceed safe and don't run, don't attempt to cause any injuries while we are proceeding. When we are in the council chamber, please evacuate to your nearest exit. The nearest exit when we are in the council chamber is at E25 at my back, as I always indicate. You will proceed then with the steps where you will be counted and ensure that everyone that is next to you, you familiarize yourself in terms of the roll call. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Loiso. Welcome, Alderman Gerke. We will now have a moment of silent prayer or self-meditation. Thank you. Attendance of members, 4.1 councillors present. Rihanna.
Good afternoon, Speaker, Executive Mayor, Deputy Executive Mayor, Whip of Council, all other councillors present. Speaker, for your special council meeting dated the 8th of December 2022, I can confirm the following councillors present in the chambers as well as on Zoom. Present via Zoom, Councillor Swart.
Councillor Swart, just give us an indication if you can.
I'm here, Speaker.
Thank you.
Councillor Maiden.
Present, Speaker.
Councillor Wigbaard. I'm going to continue, Speaker. Alderman Boyson, Councillor Malloy, Councillor Gungubele, Alderman De Vries,
Present.
Councillor Cornelius,
Teenwoordig, Speaker.
Councillor Saptu, Councillor Hector,
Present.
Already Kretzinger, Councillor Cronje,
Present, Speaker.
Alderman Van Niekerk,
Present.
Alderman Gerke, Councillor van Noordwijk, Councillor Kannemeyer,
Present.
Councillor Babuma,
Present, Speaker.
Already Writers,
Present, Speaker.
Councillor April,
Present, Speaker.
Alderman Lambertine,
Present, Speaker.
Already Richaba,
Present, Speaker.
Speaker, those are the councillors present via Zoom and in the chambers. And if you would allow, I would do the officials.
You may proceed.
We have Mr. Stratu, Ms. Holzhausen, Mr. Africa, Mr. Menzie, Mr. De Jager, Mr. Daniels, Ms. Davids, Mr. Makateni, Mr. Loliwe, Mr. Koos Nieuwoud, Ms. Wilson, Ms. Pamela Lufele, Mr. Paul Mutangi, Ms. Mercy James, Ms. Ilse Simon, Mr. Bello Mpuru, Mr. Desha, myself, Mr. Otto, Ms. Klaas, Mr. Herman Peters, Ms. Lauren James, Mr. Dianke, Mr. Compion, Mr. Joel, Ms. Shiham Sims, Mr. Nieuwoud, Ms. Van Wijngaard, Ms. Kauzela, Mr. Stoffels, Mr. Fuller, and Mr. Shortu. Those are the officials present in the chambers as well as
Street, Councillor van Noordwijk. Maybe that is going to happen now a lot today, so you must just check. Please, may proceed.
Speaker. We only received 3 formal apologies, Speaker. One is from Alderman Ter Blanche, one is from Councillor Akker, and Elder Lady Ndai. Those are the official apologies that we received, Speaker. I haven't received anything else.
Thank you. Any councillors that know of any apologies that we need to record? Yes.
Yes,
Alderman.
Speaker. Unfortunately, Councillor Buys is not able to make it, and he's got some problems with his internet in Tooslandana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I know this internet and stage 6 is causing a lot of problems. Item number 5, noting of the provision of schedule.
Speaker,
Yes, Elder Lady Lachaba.
thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I just wanted to say also that some of my caucus members, they are having a load shedding, and also some they were engaging in meetings. It's just, I thought that we were going to make that roll call with them, but also because of this short notice, so I think that, I don't know how we're going to treat this, but most of my caucus members were unable because of the load shedding, some of them,
Yes,
to
thank
come
you.
online.
We will put in an apology for them. Then there is just Councillor Toto has sent me my apologies for not mentioning it. He has sent a doctor's certificate that he is been booked off sick. Maya?
Madam Speaker, I was going to make a suggestion because of the nature of this meeting and the circumstances that for the purpose of this meeting, that we don't treat any councillor as a matter of being absent without leave.
Thank you for that, Maya. We will note that on our attendance register. And Councillor Sethi, I know for a fact is also still recovering. She's also not well.
Speaker, seek your indulgence. I may be in and out in this meeting, busy with very urgent matters at the moment.
No, thank you, Alderman. I am happy that you have made it because you did inform me previously that there's a possibility that you don't even going to attend, but thank you for your presence. 6, disclosure of interest by councillors and officials. Point number 7, this is now my communications. I think it is very important that I just bring the following under the attention of council. For the past 2 days, we had a gender development workshop that was on the 6th and the 7th. And this afternoon, I was informed by Ms. Chandra Williams that she had tested positive for COVID. So if any of us that was in the meeting are feeling sick or whatsoever, COVID is still real. COVID is still with us. She said she's coughing very badly and she's not feeling well. I don't know, Gerard, if we must still go into isolation or go and test because we were in close contact with her for the past. But colleagues, the reason why I'm mentioning this is, please, if we are going into the season now, be careful. COVID is still out there, and if you are, those of us who attended the workshop, if you are started to feel sick, please go to the doctor and get tested. Then for tomorrow, I've only received one for our strategic engagement. I've only received one formal apology from Councillor Kannemeyer. She sent me a formal apology that she won't be able to make it tomorrow. But besides for Councillor Kannemeyer, I haven't received any other apology.
Speaker, for yes, I have also put it through by Ronishia that I won't be able to make it. I did make a formal apology for tomorrow. I did.
It's noted. I'm just mentioning that because the MM said that it was compulsory for all of us to attend. I think we can proceed, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
Jy nou lekker uitgevang, nee. As jy lekker uitgevang. Welcome, Councillor Buys. May proceed, Mayor. Mayor, before you, Alderman De Vries.
Speaker, thank you very much. I just want to raise the issue, Speaker, this morning when the WhatsApp was communication was sent to us for a special meeting, for an urgent special meeting, and link this also to the availability or non-availability of councillors. I think having received the agenda, and this was now only this afternoon, in future, in situations of emergency, it's important, even while we don't have the agenda, that as the speaker, that you inform us why we're having a meeting. Because I think that if some of the councils knew that we are dealing with a disaster or emergency, then that might then some other councils might have considered to rather attend this than other prior engagement. So I think that yes, it's urgent, and yes, we are here, but in future, please just give us indication what the meeting's about. Because I might not be, other councillors might have decided, okay, look, I have something else to do. So there was a long period in between the notice of the meeting and when we received the agenda. So my plea is that we in future indicate this is going to be this, and this there is for emergency. Thank you.
Alderman De Vries, thank you very much. Alder Lady Lechaba also sent a similar message. So I will really I am taking note of that, and will make sure in future that we inform you. This was the first time that a meeting was called in such short notice. But thank you for bringing that under our attention. Executive Mayor. Welcome, Councillor Acker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, thank you. And I'm also going to be short, Madam Speaker, but just to convey the fact that we really appreciate the effort that has been exercised here today by the councillors as well as the officials. And it is indeed unforeseen circumstances, but I want to convey on behalf of everybody in the Garden Route, you know, in a time of need and in a time of disaster, when it's called upon us, everybody who's here, and we understand those who are not here. We also aware that some councillors are out of town. They're busy with some studies and courses. We do understand that, and also other municipalities are having caucuses and council meetings as we speak. So, Madam Speaker, once again, thank you, colleagues. And this is again a sign of when the going gets tough, we toughen up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maya. MM.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, councillors, colleagues, thank you. Madam Speaker, there is nothing much, but to also convey our sincere thanks to the councillors that have heeded the call for the meeting. We decided this morning that actually it was important that we bring this to the attention of council, for council to be aware and to take the necessary decisions. We understand this time of the year is quite busy. People are planning, people out of town, but the emergency is with us. And as things look, ESCOM is not going to let go very soon of these load sheddings. So it's better that this district municipality is well prepared, especially it's season time. People will be traveling and officials will have to take decisions on the go. We want our council to be aware. We have also been hard pressed, Speaker, by the various municipalities to assist. As you can see, there's also a motion in the agenda from Otsoren, and we thought that without any further delays, let us convene council and take the necessary decisions and move forward. So please accept our apologies for the inconvenience, but thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, MM. Alderman Lamborghini.
Yes, Speaker, thank you very much, Speaker. With your judges, Speaker, I would like to, at this point in time, I would like to withdraw my motion of exigency. The reason why I would like this motion to be withdrawn is that these requests that is in my motion, and it's more similar to the main item, and that is the reason why I would like to withdraw my request, because it's going to be a duplication actually of what my request is and also what the main item speaks on. So with your indulgence, I would like this recommendation be forming part of the main item of Duisseldorf and the rest the water issues that we experience there in Duisseldorf and the rest and the assistance to Oudtshoorn, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Lamborghini. Alderman Gericke.
Yeah, just Speaker, can I just ask on that point of Alderman Lamborghini that he consider not to withdraw his motion, because let us talk on the motion, speak on the motion. There's certain issues that we need to address. I think it's important to understand that elements revolving around this motion are administrative of nature. And I think we need to tell it to one another. You don't need to bring a motion to council to order water tanks to your ward. It should be an administrative arrangement. And I think we must resolve on that, Mr. Mayor, for the Speaker.
Maya.
Madam Speaker, my understanding of a motion is that any councillor can bring a motion on any matter. And if the motion is then raised, then council through you, Madam Speaker, then engage on the substance of the motion. But we should not see motions as either doing what the officials were supposed to do. We as councillors, we can, and we just deal with it in a council meeting in this manner. So I'm not quite sure in terms of what Alderman Gericke refers to, that maybe the motion should not have been served because it's an automatic function, etc. So, but that can be decided when the motion is tabled. We should not, because we'll never know, we'll back off if that is going to be our attitude. I don't want councillors to back off or back out of motions.
Yeah, Speaker.
So Maya, are you supporting Councillor Alderman Gericke that it not been withdrawn, but that we speak on that separately?
Madam Speaker, a mover of a motion decides on his own motion. So, and Councillor Lamborghini have moved to withdraw, and he has stated reasons why, so we should respect that.
Thank you. So can we now proceed then, Alderman Lamborghini? We will stick to your what you have asked, that the motion be withdrawn and that the content of your motion will be discussed within the next item, that is on section 5. In my apologies, section F, not 5. There is no other from section A to E, there are no reports. So section 5, that is a report to council to consider the declaration of the Garden Route district as a local disaster area as a result of the current energy crisis. We will find that on page 6, and we will deal with it in conjunction with a motion that was tabled by Alderman Lamborghini. We've got our recommendations there, but before we go to the recommendation, I think it is important that we as a council must be informed of being made aware why this is in front of us. MM.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Firstly, Madam Speaker, as you have correctly pointed out, the motion has been withdrawn. So the motion will not be dealt with the item. However, the motion's content will be covered by the item because the item deals with the whole district. So whatever would have been raised as of Oudtshoorn will also be covered when we deal with the whole district. Quickly, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I was contacted yesterday, to be specific, by the acting MM of Canaland, Mr. Keith Jordan, alerting me to a crisis in Kanaland regarding water that was affecting the lives and livelihoods of the residents of that area, requesting certain interventions from the district. After that, I was also contacted by the head of department for local government, under which disaster management falls in the province, Mr. Paulse, advising the same and also requesting us to take certain steps to intervene in the process. We met this morning as MENCOM or Management Committee of your municipality, and have decided, Speaker, to prepare a submission to council. The submission is the subject of the item. And with your permission, Speaker, I would request Mr. Gerard Otto to table the the item, and submit the proposals to council as we have agreed. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Otto.
Good afternoon, Speaker, Executive Mayor and councillors. Thank you for this. Maybe just to start off with, I can just indicate that we're doing this proactively as we are aware of the situation in terms of power and load shedding in the district and also in the country. I also need to bring it to your attention. I am aware that the Koeberg Unit 1 that was going to be done for maintenance has been postponed until Saturday, but it will be shut down on Saturday. So I foresee that going forward, the load shedding is with us at least at the higher levels for the next 6 months due to Koeberg Unit 1 not being there. So that being said, this is being proactive. What we did is we looked at what the situation is in the district. We've already been contacted by NASNA. We've also been contacted by Oudtshoorn for assistance. We've been contacted by Hesekwa. We're busy pumping water in Albertina with one of our generators. And then last night, when the MM phoned me and he said that we need to intervene in Kanaland, I did an assessment of what is required in Kanaland and realized that backup generation is definitely in need for not only Kanaland, but for the entire district. So this report was compiled there was a delay this morning because we could only get prices for interventions this morning, and we compiled this morning. I can just quickly go through this with you. I can indicate to you there's some good news in the report, and that is what we are looking for the coming season. But we are all aware in the district that we've received below normal rainfall for the last 4 months. We normally get our highest rainfall in this district during the month of October. And unfortunately, if you look on the report, you will see for the last 4 months, we've received well below normal rainfall. We do have some rainfall that will come our way over the next week, 6 to 13 December, and there's thunder showers and thunder activities with rainfall expected over the weekend for the Kanaland and Oudtshoorn area, as well as for the coastal areas, and also for the week thereafter. And it does look a little bit more promising for the months of the end of December, January and February. But that being said, we need to be prepared to be able to act. And unfortunately, at this point in time, the district only have 2 big generators that we can use to assist local municipalities, and they're not big enough to yield in the demand that there is at the various areas in the district. I bring to your attention that Kanaland, just to bring Kanaland's situation to your attention, there's 13 boreholes. Of them, 4 is fully operational, 4 is partially operational, and 4 is not operational at all. The 4 that's not operational has got broken borehole pumps, and there's work being done to get them repaired. But even once they're repaired, we've still got the challenge in terms of load shedding, and they cannot be pumped, all of them. Some of them have got solar power, but all of them cannot be pumped if there's not generators to assist in generating power during the load shedding periods. In addition to that, in Calitzdorp, they actually require 4 generators to be able. In addition to that, in Calitzdorp, they actually require 4 generators to be able to pump water with their booster pump stations, etc. during load shedding periods. They're falling behind, and that's why people is left without water. And then also in Zawa. So we've prepared this report just to focus firstly on getting emergency generation in place and to purchase just the basic needs that is required. The report, I must say that you don't buy a 100 kVA generator off the shelf at this point in time. Everyone in the country, I found everyone that can be found, you don't buy them off the shelf. They must be manufactured and it takes between 12 and 14 weeks to build them. So for the interim, you might have to rent a rental of generators where it's required, and the daily cost is 1,600 rand per rental unit if you run it for 8 hours. Every hour after the 8 hours will cost you another 250 rand per unit. But we've worked on a worst case scenario of 8 hours running per unit, and that comes down to the total cost for 1.2 million if you look at the summary of costs. Then in terms of the outright purchase, the preliminary cost was 300,000. I can just indicate, as we were sitting here, I actually received the quote, it's 1 million higher. And it's because of the specifications that we've put into those generators to make them tamper-proof so that they've got a casing around them, and also some of them a little bit more silent, as well as the commissioning thereof, delivery to the specific areas where we require them. So that cost already will change. Then in terms of security, we've just looked at placing security at the different sites where it's required for the period until the end of January, as we feel that we might be able to put plans in place to make use of our EPWP section and train people so that they'll be able to do the necessary security activities that's required where we place these units. We've then also looked at the running cost. Now, I know this is a debate because actually there'll still be an income for the specific municipality out of the power that they're going to sell, but I had to include that in here because this is one of the biggest challenges that the local municipalities in the district has, and that's in terms of the diesel cost. They did not budget to run generators on load shedding stage 6 for extended periods. I need to bring these generators run at about 22 liters per hour, and at a cost of, if you look at that, if you have to run for 150 days, the 8 generators will be more than 5 million. And then also maintenance cost. Every 250 hours, basically every month, you must service that generator at around 10,000 rand per generator per service. If I just add this, it will get you the value of 9.7 million. So what we've said is, if council approves this, the recommendations would be that we proactively declare a local disaster and then solicit funding from the provincial government. You'll see in the report under the financial implications, it's indicated that we will be requesting the provincial government, Department of Local Government, to stand in for costs that we incur. And then once we've declared, we can also request additional funding from the national and other spheres of government to maybe assist us in this regard. But the intention would be to purchase generators for use by the district municipality at any local municipality in the future where there's a requirement for this. Thank you, Chair. I don't know if there's anything else that my agent wants to add.
Amen. Want to add? And then other lady.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Maybe just to add, I've been having discussions with the HOD for local government under which disaster falls. In the per-hour discussions, I have sent a submission to the department for the funding provision for these expenditures. He has agreed, but then I need to receive it in writing with the necessary instruments authorizing the carrying of that expenditure. When we were writing the report and up to this meeting, we have not yet received the response, but we are in constant contact. So the condition that is that for any expenditure that will be incurred by this district municipality for this particular purpose, that expenditure must be defrayed from a provision of the funding that must be made by the provincial government. So that one has been concluded. We're just waiting for the paperwork to be put in writing. I just need, Mr. Mayor, through your speaker, to bring to attention and council that we also made a submission to the Department of Public Works and Transport to request that due to the emergency and the challenges that we foresee, that they avail the yellow fleet for the cutting of water should a need arise, because we can foresee that we might have areas that will be severely affected and we will need all resources made available. We have received the response that has refused that request, and therefore that is the position. They have said no. You must use your own resources. You must use your own tender. The yellow fleet is for the roads department, and that's it. So that's the response that from the DRA. And that's the type of officials we deal with. And the letter is here as we have received. We'll submit to the Secretary of Council for the record as part of our submission to this meeting. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, before I allow all the lady Krutzinger and the Maya, I will allow Mr. Pasmo Longi to, you want to, is it Mr. Oh, I can't see him. I thought it was you. Sorry, my apologies. Yes, Mr. Africa, you might go.
Yes, thank you and good afternoon, Speaker, Executive Mayor, Councillors. I think I need to provide the legal context as well on page 6. Let me just read for you section 87 of the Municipal Structures Act, 117 of 1998, temporary allocation of functions and powers. I think this is very, very important. If the provision of basic services by a district municipality or local municipality collapses or is likely to collapse because of that municipality's lack of capacity, or for any other reason, the MEC of local government in the province may, after written notice to the district or local municipality and with immediate effect, allocate any functions and powers necessary to restore or maintain those basic services to a local municipality which fall within that district municipality or to the district municipality in whose area that local municipality falls, as the case may be. On page 12, when you look at the legal implications in terms of the Disaster Management Act 57 of 2002, refer to section 49, disaster occurring or threatening to occur in municipal areas. Let me read, when a disastrous event occurs or threatens to occur in the area of a municipality, the Disaster Management Center of the municipality concerned must determine whether the event should be regarded as a disaster in terms of this act, and if so, must immediately initiate efforts to assess the magnitude and severity or potential magnitude and severity of the disaster. Secondly, inform the National Center and the relevant Provincial Disaster Management Center of the disaster and its initial assessment of the magnitude and severity or potential magnitude and severity of the disaster. 3, alert disaster management role players in the municipal area that may be of assistance in the circumstances, and initiate the implementation of any contingency plan and emergency procedures that may be applicable in the circumstances. I think as a district municipality, the Garden Route has always been a leading district municipality. I think when it comes to the legal context, we've ticked all those boxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen.
Maybe lastly, Speaker, just on the risk implications, I think we just need to amend 6.5 to provide that there is a potential for unauthorized and irregular expenditure in situations like this, and the necessary controls or management controls must be put in place to avoid irregular and unauthorized expenditure. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Imam. I will take the questions in the following order. Alder Lady Iona, Maya, Alderman Lamborghini, and then Alderman Gierke.
Madam Speaker, I don't have a question. I just have a remark to make. I'm very worried, and I think we should all be very worried about the region, not just Kannaland or any specific municipality. At this stage, George municipality has only got 5.2 megalitres in their reservoirs available because of the electricity problems that we've got at the moment. They cannot purify water in quick enough to sort of just for the supply. Every morning, 7 o'clock, they've got emergency water meetings. At this stage, they cannot go on a press, or they cannot issue a press release because the panic that would basically, that might just, that, you know, as far as the residents are concerned, so that they will all of a sudden start tapping water as much as possible, and which will leave us in a serious problem. So as far as that's concerned, I think we must really be very cautious as to what and keep a close eye on what's going on in the whole region. It's not just Kanaland, because I think we are facing serious problems. George Municipality's dam is already with less than 50% full, and we've got very strict water restrictions that was instituted a week or two, 3 ago. Just on that, thank you.
I've seen, thank you all the ladies. There's 2 hands raised. I've only got Councillor Lambajin. Who's the other 2? Okay. Maya?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to say thank you to the MM's team, the officials, and for being proactive, because in the past we had this debate and it came up where we as a district had to wait first for a B to declare a disaster themselves before we could react to that. But by the way how we're doing today's one, I want to say thank you, and we are actually a step ahead in doing so. Then secondly, Madam Speaker, I would like you to present me with the response from the Yellow Fleet. I raised this in the Minmay we had about last month, and people did not believe me, because the Yellow Fleet did the same thing during hard lockdown. They refused to go in and fetch food from Overberg to bring it to the Garden Route. So I'm now having that. So I'm going to take it further. So let me not say it, but the Yellow Fleet must probably become brown. And then my other question, Madam Speaker, is that we keep on referring to the water pumps and the water issues. My question is, what happens to the sewer stations with these extended, because there are also pumps there, you know, and the last I heard, a pump is a pump, you know, so if there's no power, what happened to the sewer pump stations, you know, and how are we going to combat that problem? And then I didn't see in the presentation, I know that we have 2 big generators, which are not big enough to serve this, but ideally then for me, then means that we need 7 generators, because we have 7 municipalities, just to be on the safe side. And then, Madam Speaker, lastly, my other question to the is your discussion with the HOD of local government. You know, normally when it comes to millions and whatever invoices one has to submit, there's always a comeback. Now my question is to prevent the comeback. The arrangement, is it for Garden Route to submit, or is what you waiting for a commitment for what we submit they will cover, or we submit and they reconsider? We need to have clarity on that, so that whatever the case is, so that we can then be on standby in terms of worst case scenario or eventuality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Lambajin.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, mine is just something. I just want to know, please, Speaker, what is the clarity? Because I might know, did not hear the MM correctly. Was the MM saying that my motion or the motion I have tabled cannot form part of this main item? Because then I have a few questions or some remark that I would like to make, if maybe my question can be answered, the clarification as part of the motion, not being part of this main item.
Proceed, Councillor. You are on the floor.
Okay. I just want to ask Speaker. I was going to ask clarification. If the answer was yes or no, then I would respond or follow up with other questions.
Proceed, Councillor.
Okay. Speaker, maybe I should refrain myself or rephrase. I just want to check whether MM is they should resolve the risk issues that I have raised in that motion. I was withdrawing. Are they not forming part, or they're going to form part of the recommendations of this main item? That is the first question I would like to know, and then I will follow up. Or if it is necessary, I will not follow up.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I understood that the mover of the motion withdrew the motion. And I then said, however, the content of the motion will be covered with this item. So we don't need to say after the motion was withdrawn, we are going to discuss the motion. That's what I was just clarifying. So I understood that he withdrew the motion, but we said its content is covered by this motion. Maybe if we need to be very specific, and we can then in the resolutions add the specific resolution that affects Otsoren. But from the debate, it will be clear. But that's what I was saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Emin, for that clarity. So, Alderman Labajin, we will be very specific in our recommendations when we get to that. Alderman Gericke, then Alderman De Vries, then Councillor Malloy, Reiters, and Akker.
Yeah. Sorry, Speaker. I don't want us to see or to entertain misunderstandings when it comes to such important issues. It's got nothing to do with politics. This has got to do with the survival and livelihood and humanitarian issues. So we have always said in this council, I think there was an item last year also with regard to Canaland. We are in full support. There's no opposition to the recommendations, nothing at all. This is about humanitarian assistance and relief, and we are obliged in terms of the act as it has been read by Mr. Clive Africa. So I'm not going to debate that issue. I'm also in favor of Councillor Alderman Lambergian's motion. It's just that I said if it pertains to water trucks, because if there's no urgent council meeting coming up and your motion stands and your people suffer, what do we do? In the meantime, the administration can deal with the issues. This is just simply what I've said. But Mr. MM, I personally know your administration and your government as a proactive government. Let us say this and let us go on the records on that. I don't like what I read here now. Really, in the short space of time that I came here now to read, that we are cited by Lady Smith-Cheese as a second respondent in issues that was actually supposed to be dealt with by Canaland Municipality. This is my understanding. You can correct me. Now, Canaland is the first respondent, we are the second respondent, and it may have implications for us, although they are not looking for a cross order now, but on condition that we adhere to certain requirements. So there's potential risk there. So I'm not searching for who can we put the blame on. I'm trying to get to the point to say other governments, local municipalities, if people want to be in charge of governments, then they must be able to think proactively and act proactively and look at their citizens. It's hard to ask words, but we need to understand if you want to govern, then you must be able to plan proactively so that you suit the needs of your citizens. This government, this municipalities are thrown into a situation where we should not actually be. It's a local municipality issue, and they should have communicated with us earlier on these issues so that this government and these officials act proactively. We mustn't be silent on this. We must speak up. We must register our concerns and our complaints. And yes, there is assistance, but the fact of the matter is we must address the issues when it comes to local, because this time it's Canaland and next time it may be George or Neisner or whoever, and they just rush in here with urgent urgent items, and we must adhere to wherever we are. We must send out the message as a government to say they must act proactively in time, timeously, so that arrangements can be made. Because we have not, and I'm not going to expose you to this, but we have not even answered the question. It's just said here that Canaland, that Lady Smith-Cheese will bring a motion of notice. We don't even know if notice of motion served already or not. That's how we need to know. Because if we don't, in fact, if I understand this correctly, if we did not do what we do here today, we would have been at risk. I look at there, Mr. Mayor, through the speaker, we must send out a clear-cut message, even if it's our own political fact. We must tell them if they want to govern, they must live.
Can you
up
just
to the
mute
law.
it, please?
Thank you.
Sorry, my
Thank you.
apologies, Alderman, but it's
Yeah, that's sabotage.
As a
so-
steerness,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but this.
The lady in Tabi Singh, I think it's you. Alderman de Vries?
Oh, sorry, Speaker.
Alderman de
Thank
Vries,
you. Yes, Speaker, can you hear me?
yes, you may proceed.
Speaker, thank you. And also, I think want to say the sentiments of previous speakers and also Alderman Gericke in terms of us being proactive and the steps that the MMN's team is bringing to this meeting to deal with this matter. Speaker, I'm seeing and I want to, in a way, get to the point of the questions of Alderman Laburdine, although you withdraw it. The issue about the recommendation, as I read the recommendation, and if my understanding is incorrect, then I would like to be guided, is that we are requesting for the district as a whole to be declared as a disaster. And through that, then allow the administration to make any interventions in any other town, not only Kannaland. Although we note Kannaland in the recommendation, but the recommendation is asking us to declare the Garden Route as a whole as a disaster, as a drought disaster area, and that using this resolution then will be assisted, or if any other areas need urgent assistance, that this resolution will cover that. They will be able to apply to whether it's to provincial or national government in terms of the Disaster Management Act, will be able to do that. And that's the issue, that we don't have to go into detail. We need this now in rivers, sorry, in the rest or so forth. The same here in Knysna, we have problems in terms of pump. There was a disaster, sorry. We are already on level 3 in terms of water restrictions, and the load shedding 6 have also added to the problems that we experience. So if I look at the resolution, is to basically we give that mandate to them, to the and using this resolution then to intervene in any way across the district without having to come back to the council. And that's how I understood the issue about then. We discussed the issues that is happening in the rest and so forth, and I'm raising Knysna, and this will be able to assist in all those areas. But then as we declare a disaster, the other and the livelihoods, as Councillor Gericke have mentioned, of our people is at stake. But as we declare and request for the area to be declared disaster, the way, in the manner in which we're doing it, we must be very careful. We are at the time of the year where a lot of our businesses is actually at this stage making money that will sustain them for the next 9 months. And we will receive, and a lot of people have already making bookings, and we have received, and already in our district in terms of coming for the holidays. So while we must be clear that we call for the disaster, we'll do interventions, but the manner, times, and how we communicate, it becomes important during this part of the year, so that we doesn't do our economy unnecessary extra harm, because at the end of the day, it's the people also. It's not only that those businesses, but the people that we, poor and the vulnerable, that we're protecting, that is also then affected. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman de Vries. Councillor Malloy.
Thank you, Speaker. I had some discussions with the Executive Mayor of Kannaland this morning, and he gave me a long list of requirements or possible support. I've gone through the list and most of them are in there. He also just add the following. You need support in the following. He was asking for support with a honeysuckle for businesses in Calitzdorp. And he also requests Jojo tanks, possible Jojo tanks. He said there is a lot of Jojo tanks available in one of the depots that we have in the area there. So the Jojo tanks wouldn't be that big of a problem. The other things are included in the goods and services list as I find it in the item. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Malloy. Elder Lady Reuters, Councillor Acker, and then the Deputy Executive Mayor. In that order, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yes, maybe we as the Gardener are not aware of all the B municipalities who is affected by this water crisis due to load shedding. If I can mention Mossel Bay, like yesterday, all the rural areas doesn't have any water, and we have to use the fire trucks to go out to the rural areas and supply water there. But we are in a high season of fire, and we can't expect our fire trucks to be on the road providing water to our residents. If maybe we can have a talk to all the B municipalities in here where there is problems. I know in Mossel Bay we've got notices to be to work sparing with the water. Due to load shedding, the reservoirs can't be filled up to the standard level to supply water to all the areas. Luckily for us, our Suris station is lying on one of the national key points that is staying on during load shedding. We haven't got a problem with our sewage station, but our water definitely, our pumps can't pump the reservoirs to full capacity. And maybe we shall just have a talk to all the B municipalities in here, where is the problems and who need help. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Acker.
Speaker, thank you. I just need to disclose that at this stage, I didn't even have the opportunity to look through the reports that's in front of us. I've been in meetings for the whole day, and I'm currently scheduled to engage with various communities in Mossel Bay with difficulties and problems that the people here have with the municipality. So I didn't have the time, so I was only listening to what I heard. So from the outset, from my side, I want to make it clear. Kannaland is known for mismanagement for many years. Now they run into problems which was to be expected, and we need to assist them, I know. But we can't come to their saving if they're not managing themselves properly. That's my first point. My second point is I will not be able to vote in favor of any form of a state of disaster if that motion is posed for today. We are going into the system of holidays, and many people coming here. We just went through COVID. People's whole lives were turned over, and I'm not going to vote for anything that's going to cause that again. Thirdly, if province are not willing to give us in times of disaster the opportunity to use equipment that can be of assistance, and they refuse that. My suggestion would be, and I know officials can't act against the law, but that we just tell them in the morning before we use whatever yellow equipment we want to need, that we are going to use this equipment, that they can come out and get a court order or security guards to stop us, and then we can go to the press and wherever we want to go to disclose what is going on in this region. Fourthly, it is clear that from all the options that Mr. Otto put through before us today, that renting is the cheapest of all options available at the moment. So if we need to look at our budgets again, or even whatever the consequences may be, if we even need to get give away of our clean audit because we want to save the people all the inconvenience and approve of this additional expenses, that is still the cheapest way of going with this thing if we rent in generators and whatever we need. And lastly, we need to engage with B municipalities. It's not good enough for B municipalities to sit comfortably until 10 days before Christmas to come to us and then tell us we are now in a crisis and now you must make a plan or put this whole district in a state of disaster, terwijl the whole district is not in a disaster. I will not be able to vote for that. And lastly, I may disclose at this stage that in any event from the side of my party, from the Freedom Front, we will be presenting a comprehensive water plan to the district municipality at our first council meeting or whenever we have the opportunity to do so, to engage into a new water plan for the whole of the district. So in short, that is all that is that I have to say. And I feel very strong about it. And if I come over very robust on that, maybe I am robust on that, but this is my position. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Acker. Deputy.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I've basically been covered to a great extent by my colleague, Councillor Acker. I do feel maybe not that extremely strong, but that the request for the declaration of the Garden Route District as a local drought disaster area be supported, that we should maybe just revisit it, whether it's necessary to put the whole of the district under a disaster area, because it's got severe consequences, especially for holiday visitors, etc., etc. That there is a humanitarian crisis. We can't, and there I support Alderman Gericke. Thank you very much, Alderman. I think you've put it quite clearly that there is a need to be addressed. So without any ado, Speaker, I'm not going to repeat what the other speakers said. I'm basically covered by them. It's just that with regards to the threat of a notice of motion, we will see in paragraph 3 that no relief's been sought against the 2nd to the 10th respondent. So what happened here is a normal legal process. It is so that the party against who your remedy lies, that you address that party as the first respondent, or second and third, and so on, if it's all of them. But those who are not really directly involved, you never sought, it's merely, you only cite them because they might have an interest, and you only ask cost against them should they oppose, because then there is cost involved. If you opposed any motion, you need to appoint attorneys, advocates, etc., and they need to be paid, and so then they will oppose. But otherwise, it is just as stated, there is no remedy sought against us, but it is so that we might have an interest here, and we do have. We are the godfather, as I see it, of the other local municipalities, and it is, we must see this whole notice of motion in that regard. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Then there are still 2 councillors online who raise their hands. Councillor Chaba, is it Elder Lady Reuters again? Before the councillors, the MM wants to respond.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to respond, because the items are quite long now. To the Executive Mayor. Yes, Mr. Mayor, the issue of wastewater is also included because the pumps are needed for wastewater treatment works as well. So when we want more energy, we talk water and wastewater. So that includes that. The second point, Councillor Gericke is now out. The Deputy Mayor has covered me on the notice of motion. Indeed, we are cited as the second respondents, but there are no prayers against us, and therefore we are just drawn. So there are no costs. There's nothing However, what that motion highlights is the dire situation or the threat to the stability of the water situation in Kanaland. And that's why we bring it to your attention that it's not only that we brought this thing, but there are other motions parallel to this that we cannot ignore. Thirdly, I think Councillor De Vries is correct. The resolution seeks to cover the whole of the district, including Oudtshoorn municipality. It's just that it's because the pressures came from Kanaland and we wrote the report from that angle. Councillor Lady Kritzinger, yes, we include all municipalities, including George and Neisner. And that's why we couched the resolution in that manner. I think to Councillor Aka, I would agree with the submissions on other stuff. However, on number 4, I think the deputy has also looked at it. On number 4, Mr. Mayor, Clive and myself have just spoken. The resolution can be amended, but we want to add. I see your TV is gone now.
But we are still online. I've asked this several times and they said it's just the screens that are, the TVs that are off.
Okay. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to say, number 3 is correct that the Garden Route Disaster Management Center be mandated to coordinate the short as well as the long-term interventions needed to address the crisis. We can add number 4 to say that the management is authorized to take any and all steps within the law to attend to any emergency or crisis that may occur as a result of the power outages. More specific to that, and maybe to amend 4 becomes 5 and amend it to read that the request for the declaration of Garden Route District as a local disaster be investigated and be reported back to council in the next council meeting, so that we do not do the declaration now, but we to investigate that possibility, because it means we need to do more consultation, even with the business sector and everybody else, to determine the impact. We are also concerned that we don't want to send the wrong message that we are declaring a disaster during festive season. So we can amend number 5, which is currently number 4, to read that the request for the declaration of the Garden Route as a local disaster as a result of the energy shortages be investigated and be reported to council in the next meeting. I think that will cover all of us, Mr. Mayor, including Councillor Aka, who is not going to support any declarations currently. Thank you.
Thank you, I hope everybody has followed because I lost the somewhere along the line.
I just wanted to add the number 6, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
I hope the people that are taking note, that the local municipalities be reminded and be encouraged once again to take the resolutions to support the Garden Road District Municipality to become a water services authority, because we are drawn into water services all the time through a disaster point of view, and we're ill prepared because we are not in the water space. And for as long as we do not have the authority, we will not have the resources. So we again must show them that you are coming to us, but when we say you want to play our role, you refuse. So we want again that the local municipalities be reminded and encouraged once again to support the request for Garden Roads to become a water services authority. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope that would then reconcile the various views, and I hope the resolution will be captured as such if the meeting so agrees. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, but I've not 1 stage like that, 2 stages like that, 3 stages like that, but what happened to the old 4 become 5 with drought that has been removed. So where is 4?
I've added 4, Madam Speaker, and I've read it out to say that the Garden Route Management is mandated to take any and all necessary decisions to avert any crisis or emergency that may happen as a result of the outages in power as a result of Eskom's load shedding. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Five-
Councillor Aka has just responded to say he's happy with my.
Thank you. I
submission.
see that, Okay, so that is 4. Then 5, we're just going to also amend and delete drought and said be investigated. That is what I've captured. And you've added the 6 about the local municipalities. We're reminded to take resolutions to support Garden Route to become a water services authority. Okay, then, but I will still allow for debate because I've still got Maya, Councillor Lechaba, and then Councillor Reuters for a second round.
Madam Speaker, I'm 99% covered by the but I just want to go back to the notion raised by Alderman Gericke that Kanaland is indeed a problem. And I just want to put this here on record that there's going to be a follow-up meeting with Kanaland in January. We had a meeting about 3 weeks ago. Garden Route, the Auditor General, National Treasury, Provincial Treasury, who else was there? Salga, and we were not happy with Kanaland in terms of the management, in terms of the political instability. So there will be a follow-up. And Parliament was part of that meeting, National Parliament. So Kanaland has been red flagged, and we're going to deal with these matters. So I'm going to report back at when that meeting has taken place. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Lady Lechaba.
Thank you, Speaker. For me, I'm also covered. However, I also wanted, in terms of recommendation, that in terms of consultations with B municipalities, that it be prominent, and that also from themselves, that they should support in terms of their declaration of disaster as per their assessment. Because I think it's also critical that they are still B municipalities, they still got a responsibility in terms of risk assessment, and also then they be able to forward that. As much as we are thinking forth, but they also remains to have a responsibility to write those the declarations, or councils to have those declarations from their councils coming, because I think it's the right thing. And then also then with this support, and then we're also having the assessments that are coming from them, and then we are able, so the consultation becomes also very critical, and also all other stakeholders, because I don't think only the municipalities, the business sector, the local people, and there must be a process, or even for that matter, in terms of the engagement, to be some kind of an engagement forum that can work on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Lady Reuters.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm covered with that, the recommendations that the MN and also the previous speakers. It may be an old hand.
Thank you,
Just one thing, Speaker, I forgot when the mayor asked about the arrangement with province on funding, and now it's going to work. The principle is that we do not have the money as Garden Route. We didn't budget for this. Province has offered to fund this expenditure. In my letter, I've said we will only incur expenditure when you have committed to fund in writing and you have supplied us with the necessary instruments authorizing such expenditure, which means a gazette or something to that effect. Thank you, Mr.
Alderman De Vries.
Just a question in terms of we are going to recess. In any eventuality in any of the municipalities, which will normally start with their own council, will we then, if necessary, be reconvened if things go awry in one of these municipalities? Especially if they call themselves or request for the, or initiate the process, my apologies, for a disaster, to declare the area as a disaster. But I know when they declare, then the district must still declare in that process. So we'll be reconvened if there's a need. Thank you.
Councillor van Noordwijk.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to know that we're talking about municipalities, Garden Route helping the municipalities, but when it comes to, say, the farmers, we are not provided water from the municipalities, but from national places like Wifferberg Water. And how will we be able to assist the farmers as well? Because then it is livestock and everything including.
Councillors, I'm going to conclude. I'm going to close. If there are any other questions, I will allow the imam then to respond. Imam, you want to proceed?
Madam Speaker, it's going to be difficult to overcommit to supply farmers. You know, when you say you're going to supply farmers, those are very high capacity users of water. But it is our mission to assist whoever comes to knock at our door whenever we can. I am unfortunately not able to commit to say we can assist in terms of supplying water to farmers. But what we have done, we have assisted already, especially in the areas where they were drought hit, those drought-stricken areas. We have assisted with infrastructure money. There is money that was paid for infrastructure. We have this morning asked Mr. Dongi to speak to the Otsoren colleagues to ensure the connection of the pipe for the fresh water that we have put in there. The farmers in the area, for instance, in Canaland, we have asked them, those that have the necessary infrastructure, they are allowed to connect on the line that we laid down. So there's 4. Yes. So we do assist where we can, but ordinarily it's a huge call for a municipality to provide water to farms because those are high-end users of water in terms of volumes. But any resident, any business, anyone, where we are able to, will bring whatever we can bring to assist. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much, Imam. I think we can now go to the recommendations. Everything has been covered.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, Alderman De Vries' question on whether we will reconvene if anything comes up. My answer is yes, we should.
Yes. Mine.
And or because during recess, myself and the MM.
Yes.
So that resolution, that resolution stays, and then we can then handle with the matters.
Yes. And I think wherever we are, we've got Wi-Fi depending on ESCOM, but then we can just have an online meeting. There's another 2 hands. Are they? Oh, is it old hands or hands that has not been taken down?
No, it's hands. It's hands.
It's a new hand.
Alderman De Vries, you may proceed, and then Elder Lady Lechaba.
No, I just wanted I hear what May is saying, and thank you for responding. But just to remind him that in terms of the delegation authority, that recording disasters is a municipal council must do that. Thank you. Bye.
Elder Lady.
Thank you. Just in adding to what my Alderman De Vries has just said, is that just for interest, is there a letter that have came from Canaland for declaration? Because as I said, they must also still have their responsibility. Is it? I'm sorry if I don't, because as I said, I didn't have enough time to run through all this in the short period of time.
Thank you, councillors. MM.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to confirm to councillors, we will only deal with the items that are delegated. All the non-delegable items we won't deal with. So if a needs a meeting, we will deal with that when we come to it. In terms of Canaland, we received a call from the acting municipal manager last night and from the HOD of local government I agreed with the MM of Kanaland that they will be sending a document to me to this morning. And I have as yet not received that. However, we are in possession of the notice of motion as well that we have attached in the item, just to show that the matter is not only coming from the municipality itself, but other stakeholders in the community of Kanaland are up in arms wanting to enforce service delivery. And we have been cited as respondents number 2 in that motion, and therefore we have to do something. So as I sit here, the correspondence from Kanaland, I'm checking my inbox, has not yet arrived. Just coincidentally, Mr. Mayor, through you, Madam Speaker, as Councillor Mulwei was reading what the Executive Mayor has said he requires as assistance, mentioning Hani Saka, I received a call from the acting MM this morning that they don't need anything from us. They are very well, they are fine. So we are dealing with a kind of a complicated situation, but we, as a district municipality that is responsible, we have to be proactive and do what we have to do. We can't let ourselves be diverted by these games that we see being played. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A follow-up, Speaker, please.
Proceed.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for that indulgence. In fact, that is exactly why we are saying there must be some kind of a formal thing so that we do not get communication from left and right and from center. You know, this is for administration purposes. We need to have things in writing, formally done through the office, is either through the office of the municipal manager or through the office of the mayor or through a council resolution, because of the very same thing, that we need to have something that is properly done. And
Are you done?
And that is my feeling. From now on, yes, right administration processes on this, that letter writing and in writing into us. That must occupy, must accompany what we are dealing with for them to get this assistance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cornelius.
Dankie Speaker. Speaker, ek is baie geskok oor wat ek nou hoor wat die MM sê, wat Kanaland, die MM van Kanaland sê dat Kanaland het niks nodig van die distrikkie. Speaker, ek is 'n inwoner van Kanaland. Councillor Mulwei is 'n inwoner van Kanaland. Ons weet presies, ons ken die probleme van Kanaland. Ons weet hoe ons mense suffer sonder water. Hier's 'n area in Kanaland, Varkieskloof, 'n informele nedersetting waar mense omtrent 4 dae gelede water gehad het. Omdat daar 3 tanke is wat water volgemaak word en dit is nie volhoubaar om die hele gemeenskap te dra nie. Ek is geskok dat die munisipale bestuurder kan sê Kanaland het geen assistance nodig nie. Ek dink dis hierdie munisipale bestuurder wat besig is om Kanaland te saboteer, en dit is geen politieke onstabiliteit nie, maar dis 'n sabotasie wat besig is om plaas te vind in Kanaland. Dankie.
Translate, please, Bonnie. Switch off, MM, please. Switch off. Thank you.
Somlomo Nkosi Ndabulele. Mna ke yandothusa le ithethwa ngumphathi masipala ukubana eKanaland kuye kwathiwa akukho ncedo oludingekayo. Ndingumhlali njengoceba uMalweli, ngumhlali waseKanaland. Kukhona udingo lwamanzi eKanaland. Nolo lukhoyo ke alusoze lukwazi ukunceda wonke ubani. Iyandothusa nento yokubana usocebe umphathi masipala waseKanaland esithi akho ncedo lusuludingayo. Nezinto ezikhoyo asoze zincede wonke ubani. Indothusa kakhulu leyo bana ke thina konke ncedo zuludingayo ngokwentetho yomphathi emasipala waseKanaland. Ngosi.
Amen.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. I'm still waiting for correspondence from the of Kanaland as agreed yesterday. But I did receive a call that they only wanted the water tank yesterday. I hope they will be sending something. Maybe a lot of things happen, sometimes we get crossed with all these things that are happening. I'm hoping something is still coming, but I've agreed with the HOD of province that we will assist anyway, because we are aware of the situation. So it's not a train smash. Councillor Chaba is right. We need correspondence from Kanaland to file for our own purposes for any expenditure we can incur to justify. We need that, so I'll be still continuing to speak to him to send the necessary correspondence to us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. I just want to confirm, I had a discussion with the of Kanaland this morning, and they were busy compiling what they call their behoeftebepaling, and they confirmed that they will forward that letter before the end of the day to the so that letter is forthcoming.
Thank you, Councillor, for the clarity. I think we are now going to our recommendation, councillors. Number 1 stays as it is. Number 2 also. 3, that the Garden Route District Management Center be mandated to coordinate the short as well as the long-term interventions needed to address this crisis. Then we've got a new 4. I didn't write everything down, but it's about our management. I've got the other 2. I've got 5 and 6. But 4 I didn't. Kaya, did you maybe taken 4 down? The new 4, because that 4 on our recommendation, councillors, is now becoming 5 with the deletion of drought, and then there is to be investigated.
Okay, number 4 reads that the Garden Road District Management is authorized to take any and all steps to avert any crisis that may happen as a result of the power outages, as a result of ESCOM's load shedding. That's number 4. In number 5, that the request for the declaration of the Garden Road District as a local disaster area be investigated and be reported back to council. And then number 6, that all B municipalities be remanded and encouraged to support the Garden Route municipality to be declared the Water Services Authority. Those are the resolutions. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I get a councillor to propose that amendments and a seconder, please?
I certainly would propose that.
Thank you.
recommendation,
Thank you,
Speaker.
Councillor Malloy.
I will second, Speaker.
Councillor Myron.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Myron. So thank you, councillors. Our new recommendation as amended was proposed by Councillor Malloy and seconded by Councillor Myron. And that brings us to the motion was withdrawn. So it brings us to the end of this.
Speaker.
Lechaba?
Councillor Lechaba. That I don't know whether I came late, but that the necessary declarations must be at hand before all other things kick in terms of assistance. We must be able to be given that declaration that the assistance that they need, because now we are making this decision without even having that. What is their needs and analysis? So that still needs to be part of a recommendation, because if it's not part of it, then how are you going to be able to assist Kanaland particularly? Because here he says that the water crisis situation in Kanaland must be noted, but yet we don't even know what do they need. So I think that it must be included to say that everything kicks in when that declaration, when that letter, if officially it gets to be um, if, forwarded to the municipality. But what I'm trying to say, we need to get the assurance that we're going to get that prior to everything starting off,
Maya,
because we are not being given now. And I'm not comfortable with that.
Madam Speaker, some of the administrative matters don't necessarily have to be part of the recommendations. For instance, the administrative processes, like we expecting correspondence between the HOD and the MM. We are expecting Kanaland to submit their requirements. All of that, we don't have to state that in the resolutions, Madam Speaker. But she is correct in terms of we need to have the backup, but we don't have to include that in the resolutions. But it is noted what is still expected from the municipalities. Thank you.
thank you very much. Councillors, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Can you please stop the recording? Stop.